Okay folks, I think I have finally found the best robot lawn mower. But let me preface that with, it's not perfect. It leaves a lot of room for improvement for the next iteration. So reviewing this bot also makes me feel like the robotic lawn mowing industry has nearly peaked. What I mean by that is I'm thinking that we are near the moment when the technology is about to mature and prices could fall. That moment is not yet here. So if you have the cash to splash, specifically 3,299 Australian dollars worth of splash, then let's talk about the best robot lawnmower you can buy right now. This is the Luba 2 all-wheel drive robotic lawnmower from Mammotion. Now, it sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud and kind of reminds me of that old Russian car, the Lada. But if you're in the market for a robotic lawnmower, the Luba 2, this is a must to check out, and you need to add it to your top 3 at least. But let me actually tell you why. Before that, of course, big thanks to Mammotion for sending the bot for review. Of course, make sure to like and subscribe and support this channel. Let's get started by rolling the intro. It's probably easier to list out the things this doesn't do than what it can do. And so it can't cook, it won't fold your clothes, it won't cut the edge of your lawn, it won't fix the rental crisis, it certainly won't fix inflation at this price, but it will cut your lawn no matter what the size or shape or height of the grass, quickly and without getting stuck. So let's start with the main features. The Luba utilizes the RTK Fusion mapping system, but hang on, it is actually really good. It's backed up by its 3D module right at the top here, meaning that there are no boundary wires, no extra antennas, bar the main RTK antenna to stab into your lawn. Now, the tracking accuracy is incredible, and I know RTK towers have been terrible in the past, but this is really, really good. I've tested 3 other RTK bots, and they have all come nowhere near the accuracy of this one right here. In fact, the bot I said had the best accuracy was the Ecovacs Goat G1, but you had to add those 4 white antennas, and each of the zones had to have at least 2, and that made it quite difficult to use in large places, but yeah, the accuracy was great. This is definitely on par. What's even better is the RTK antenna can be placed away from the charging pad, as opposed to other robots where it's hardwired to the pad. This has allowed me to mount the RTK antenna to my roof and place the charging pad in a completely different location. Not only does this provide incredible signal strength because it's high up and of course connectivity, it also means I have less things hanging around on my lawn and it just looks so much cleaner, and I guess that's what you want when you place lots of electronics around your house. Now, the RTK GNSS positioning technology ensures centimeter level accuracy with enhanced signal coverage range up to 5 kilometers. That's what it says on the box. Is it true? Yeah. Yes, it is. It's certainly good, and I can definitely attest to it. So, because my front and backyard just isn't enough to make the Luba break a sweat, I decided to map my neighbor's lawns. So yes, the Luba toddles along the street to my neighbor's front yard, 3 houses down, and mows, and then comes back to my backyard when done. The app enables multi-zone management, and it is easy to create traveling corridors in between each zone. I cannot stress enough how easy and flexible the app from Mammotion is. It may not look like much, in fact, it looks like it's straight out of the early 2000s, but compared to other brands' apps, which have a tendency to provide a lot of roadblocks and guardrails to limit you and slow you down in your setup and mowing, the Mammotion app is fully flexible with no real guardrails. But what I do find really funny is their app looks nothing like the marketing slides of their so-called app. It feels like it's a little bit in beta still. Now, I did have an issue with the firmware update process. First off, the Bluetooth connection on my phone kept disconnecting, so I had to use my iPad. That was probably my phone's fault, but then I also tried my wife's iPhone, and that was a different model, different software, still had the same problem. I'm not sure what the issue is there. Now, once I had the iPad working, I had trouble connecting to my Wi-Fi. Finally, I figured it out, and that it needs to be connected to the 2.4 gigahertz connection rather than the mesh or 5 gigahertz. I see a lot of IoT devices working better on the older style connections. Now, for added connectivity, you can install a SIM card into the device, which kind of means you have to pay for a new SIM card plan. Most other robots do come with one provided and usually lasts the amount of the warranty, but this one does not, which is a strange omission, especially at this price range. Either way, the only time you need the internet is when you want to access it remotely and start a Mow, or more specifically when it's not in Bluetooth or Wi-Fi range. Wi-Fi is mostly used for firmware updates, which are generally done near your home anyway. So the limitation is when it's further away from your home and you want to call it back, for example, when it's at my neighbor's. Now, as you can see from the design, it looks like a go-kart, and with all-wheel drive capability, it certainly drives like one. It's fast, powerful, and can climb up to 38-degree slopes. In fact, when the ground is muddy, the wheels can grip and dig in and climb like nothing else I've seen. So if your lawn is not level or literally a hillside, this is the bot for you. So yes, the Luba is incredibly powerful. It can turn very sharp angles and avoid obstacles really well. The front design wheels are multi-directional, which is pretty impressive. But it's not a go-kart, it's a lawnmower. So what about the mowing capabilities? Well, it has the widest cut in the industry. At 400 millimeters with 2 spinning discs, each with 4 blades side by side, this makes for an efficient robot, doing twice the cut in one pass compared to the competition. Now, add to that the automated height adjustment, which a lot of bots don't have, 25 millimeters to 70 millimeter cuts, and you've got yourself pretty much a fully autonomous bot that doesn't get stuck and mows really, really well any size lawn. The edge cutting is, as expected with other bots, not inexistent. Aside from a little plastic lip just here, it tracks a little bit of extra grass towards the blades, but it still doesn't cut the way you get with a whippersnipper. With cutting, many robots say you need to first cut the grass normally with your lawnmower and then use the robot to maintain the height. Well, I say, screw that. And while the Luba says something along those lines, I threw it in the deep end. Why not? I'm here to test it, right? So I let it loose on some really tall grass and it just smashed through it. And so the cutting quality is very good. It's small blades, it cuts the grass a lot better and doesn't actually pull them out, it just nicely trims it. For the Luba 2, obstacles are a breeze. The 3D vision module does a great job at dodging trees, pots, dogs, letterboxes, but beware, dog poo is still making its way under the wheels like a horse to water, but not unlike any other robot, I suppose. The back-end system includes binocular vision with the top module here and an ultrasonic radar, which you can see the points around here, and a bumper that is the last resort. So aside from the loud beeps the bot makes when it hits anything with the bumper, it's a pretty darn good system and works really well. It backs up when it hits something and then restarts the process. It has IPX6 rating for the robot and charging dock, which is super simple and it's the lowest quality part of this whole system. That dock is just average at best. While you can sort of overlook that, I would have hoped for something that is less flimsy at this price point. Lastly, the RTK station is IPX7 wireless, which is great for finding the perfect placement for the tower. I did get sent a wall mount. Now I know what you're thinking, Pat, the antenna goes onto the mount, not with the post. And you may be right, but then how will I be able to get full coverage of my entire street to roam around with the bot using the inbuilt POV camera? You didn't think of that, did you? Now, the reason for mounting it at such a height is because it travels through my garage to get to the front. And this is a way it does not lose connection when traveling underneath the tin roof. So I would suggest the same for anyone who has a front and backyard separated by house. But the wall mount kit is an extra $119. So I think if you're clever, you could probably go to Bunnings and get all that stuff done for half the price. Speaking of accessories, you can also buy racing stickers, little stripes for $69. Spare blades for $39, which I would suggest people buy anyway. Back to the robot. I have yet to have this robot get stuck. Every other robot I have ever used finds a way to get stuck in a sandy spot, for example. This does not. It can get out of any spot. Luba is very good. It's scary good. It just plows on, and getting around obstacles, the front bumper has a great slim design and it just touches the edges so the wheels don't get stuck at all. It gives enough warning for the bot to avoid it. Part of the reason it doesn't get stuck anywhere is due to the all-wheel drive tire design. It shreds through the ground, so note it could destroy certain areas if they show weakness. If there are sections that need to be touched up by you, you can actually drive the robot manually. It's really easy and kind of fun. It's kind of like driving a little remote control car. So this is the Luba 2 1000 version for $3,299, and it can do up to an area of 1,000 meters squared with a 2-hour runtime per charge, which only takes 90 minutes to recharge, meaning you can get about 350 meters squared out of each charge. Anything bigger will go back to charge and then come back to the spot it left and restart the cut. Now, there are of course dearer versions, like with anything else, which can do larger land areas and have more battery power, and as you would expect, the price jumps even further, with the top model selling for a mere 4,599 Australian dollars. So price and performance begs the question, what kind of land is the Luba for, since it costs a few $100s more than the competition? So here's the thing, it can traverse the most rugged terrain, it cuts tall grass like nobody's business, and has the best navigation I've seen. That is well worth the extra few $100s if you're comparing the price points here. But circling back to that competition, whose older generations now are going on sale, with some even reaching half their original price after a year or two of release. Partly because they're just not selling in this economic climate, but also because they were expensive to begin with. The newly released Luba for the Australian market is going to have a hard time with this steep price point. However, Mammotion has a specific customer in mind. It becomes the option for someone who has multi-acre property that needs their beautiful grass kept beautiful. Then throw in living on the side of a mountain, and yes, I may be exaggerating, but this bot is perfect for that kind of customer. In all my robot lawn mowing reviews, I have questioned the price, but the manufacturers tend to throw shade at me for saying that, trying to justify the price being fair when you compare it to a ride-on lawnmower and even a lawn mowing service. But both of these things are doing more for you than a robot and are more powerful and have, I think, more resale value. However, for the first time I can say the price fits the bill. It's powerful as a ride-on and saves you time. It's very effective and reliable for big land areas. Side note, it's funny because I saw this robot last year in a video out of Europe and thought, damn, that looks really good. And I thought to myself, if this robot comes in at the same price as other robots, it would be the clear choice. And now that it's finally here in Australia and in my hands, it really is good. But the competition has discounted their prices so far down, it kind of looks out of place, even at the fact that it can do these large areas and hillsides. Finally, would I buy it? No, I personally would not. I have a large frontage, sure, but a small backyard, and this bot is overkill. I have no hills, I have no way to make the most out of its all-wheel drive capabilities. I had to test it at my parents-in-law acreage property where it fit right at home. The Luba 2 is the best lawnmower I have tested, and I would recommend it to people with large properties, no doubt, but it is complete overkill for most suburban homes, and I think that's why this one will actually sell quite well. Of course, links below, you can find the bot. Of course, make sure to like this video if you did, subscribe to support us. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.